Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench.
Greetings and welcome to Voices from the Bench. We are at episode 81 live from Philadelphia. My name is Elvis.
My name is Barbara.
What's happening, Barbara? We are live at LMT Lab Day East.
And so much energy in the room.
This is amazing. Amazing.
We're in Philadelphia. We went out for a great meal last night, saw some opera singers. And now we're live,
so Joe Young recommended a restaurant called Victor Cafe. And we went out with the great people at Nowak Dental Supplies. And this place is an Italian restaurant where the servers would, about every 10 minutes, ring a bell and then just start belting out opera. It was quite unique, and I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I totally enjoyed it.
This is a great show.
Yeah, it's really busy.
It's our first time here.
Yep.
It's got a good vibe. It's a little bit lower key than Chicago, which is nice.
Yep.
Which is nice, but there's a lot of technicians here.
What I love is when we're doing live interviews, how everybody comes up, grabs our postcard, says hi.
Good stuff.
Corral them in about 4 minutes to come sit down with us. So we've had some really excellent interviews, and we like live because you get to articulate and look at people, and we love our podcast, but going on the show. So I missed you the last couple of shows. I'm so glad I'm back.
It's good to have the team.
You did a great job, just saying, but I definitely missed you, so I'm really happy to be back with you and sharing this live podcast.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I need you to grab these people. You're so much better at it. You're so much better at it. But real quick, a super big thank you, shout out to LMT, Judy, Jenny, all of them. Not only do they put together such a great show for our industry, but allowing us to come to capture them and to showcase what all those people who don't go are missing, it's phenomenal.
And they're always so good for us. They get us in a great location, and they provide everything for us, and we're extremely grateful all the resources that they've given us to take these shows live. So thank you, LMT and Judy.
Yes,
Appreciate
you guys
it.
are great. But, we actually have an interview we're finishing up. This week, we continue our conversation with Jessica Knott, CDT. So last time, she talked about how she got into the Air Force and learning her dental technology skills and then using them on that base that she was at. But now she's joined us civilians and took a job with Bayou State Dental Lab. So she talks about that transition from the Air Force to a private lab, how she ended up there, and really her take on the future of 3D printing.
Roll 'em.
We'd like to introduce our listeners to Crystal Ultra Fixed Hybrid Dentures by Digital Dental. Crystal Ultra is an advanced nanoceramic material used to create final restorations that are the closest alternative to natural teeth, period. If you haven't tried Crystal Ultra Hybrid Fixed Denture in your lab, you need to right now. Crystal Ultra full arches are 60% lighter than zirconia arches and 6 times stronger than traditional acrylic teeth denture setups. Crystal Ultra is also absolutely gorgeous with incredible optical qualities. Gorgeous, strong, and functional, Crystal Ultra is rapidly becoming the material of choice for full arch dentistry. Digital Dental makes it super easy to get started with Crystal Ultra immediately, like on your very next case. Just visit them at www.crystalultra.com/voices to request a sample arch and to get a discount on your first case. Digital Dental offers complete outsourced Crystal Ultra lab services, and as the only U.S.-based manufacturer of advanced dental milling machines, Digital Dental can also provide full in-lab solutions for your lab featuring the revolutionary new DM5 XT Ultra wet dry milling machine. With over 1,000 successful cases to date, Crystal Ultra is the fastest growing material solution in full arch dentistry and is taking the market by storm. Crystal Ultra, feel the difference.
Voices from the Bench,
The interview.
Stands for the industry as a whole on a laboratory side.
Yeah.
Great answer.
When you got out of the military, and you said this was like July, right?
It was just 1 month ago.
1 month ago.
Wow.
So with this kind of experience and knowledge you have, I'm sure any lab would have been happy to have you.
Yes, and I had a large amount of job offers.
I could imagine.
Well, luckily, in my time in the Air Force, when I was doing all the digital stuff, I was also doing the 3D printing and finding best solutions for the Air Force as a whole. I worked really close with our digital technology consultant who directly reports to the Surgeon General. So, he really picked me up and we were doing that together. So I was meeting everyone on the civilian side, right?
Yeah.
Because you travel around to all the conferences and, you always might see someone in Air Force uniform. You never know, one might be there. So I was one of those people and I'm getting to meet and, I keep telling everyone, well, yeah, I'm going to separate. I'm going to separate because what happened was, I joined the Air Force because I wanted to be in the Air Force. I cried because I went into dentistry. And now I left the Air Force because I love dentistry in the Air Force.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
Funny how that works.
It's funny how it works. I just don't have that time. And so as I'm out in the industry and, meeting people and I'm working with people, getting to work with a bunch of companies, towards the end of me getting out, I actually decided that I was going to work corporate and I wasn't going to work in a laboratory.
You're going to go to the vendor side?
I was going to go corporate, probably educational basis, kind of consulting. Wow. I was already consulting for some laboratories and some clinical accounts before I got out of the Air Force on digital applications. But I was just like, yeah, let's go corporate. That's where I want to be. And 2 weeks before I got out of the Air Force,
I was going to say, probably didn't take you long, right?
Well, this was planned for the whole year. And so I was only accepting corporate job offers. I was balancing them, looking at the pay, looking at locations, looking at what I could do here. Does it allow me time to have time at the bench, because it was all really important to me. And 2 weeks before, I don't know why, but I called Tristan Hall at Bayou State Dental Laboratory, and we'd met from the Dental Technician Society, which is at Fun in the Sun every year. He was the past president, and we were talking last year, and I just remember he mentioned to me, he said, Jessica, I know you, it was even over a year ago, I said I was going corporate. And he said, just give me a call before you do.
Yep.
And I'm sitting on my back porch. I've already have jobs slotted. I'm trying to decide which one to take. And I'm sitting on my back porch and I'm like, I should call Tristan.
That good old gut feeling, right?
I don't know how it came. It just did. I was like, I should call Tristan. He told me to call. So I'm I like to keep my word. I'm going to call him. And that came to, well, why don't you come down this Friday and, come to the laboratory? You've never been into the laboratory down here. I said, yeah, sure. Friday works good. And I came in and we're walking around and we're talking about what they do here at Bayou State. And it's just amazing. The educational backing that they have here is one thing that I'm in love with. They're so close with the clinical side on education and, the study clubs that they host here. And they're heavily involved with the Louisiana Association of Dentistry for all of those functions. This laboratory actually has speaking time on the clinical for Louisiana.
Wow.
And with being on a background of the digital stuff throughout the Air Force, another big task of mine, which you're just going to love it when I say this, I got to be careful who I tell, was the FDA compliance side of all the 3D printing and the mills. And so that was my job as well at the Air Force, which means that I'm on a consultant level for FDA compliance because you have to know your program. We don't outsource our consulting. We did it ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you know how to get a lab into FDA clearance for printing?
Yes, I can. And that's actually what I lectured on at Fun in the Sun. It's a big part of my backing is to be able to help people understand the FDA's role in dental laboratory now. But with me having a backing like that, Tristan's laboratory is actually the only laboratory in the state of Louisiana that's DOMIS, CDL,
awesome,
certified, both of them. And on laboratories across the U.S., that's at 0.02%.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, I got to say. Congratulations, you guys.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing here. What they've done, they've honestly been, I think it's the clinical connection. I mean, they're so close with their doctors and with the education, if you as a doctor get an MCXL because you want to mill same day restorations, congratulations, you're still our doctor, and send your assistants over so we can teach them how to run an MCXL.
Heck yeah. Yep.
Why not? Because
Why not?
they're just doing it. Doctors that do situations like that, those single units actually turn into more of their fillings, right?
Yep.
And then they get to more comp cases that they don't want to design and mill themselves. And we still have that laboratory relationship with them. We're not the laboratory that says, oh, I can't believe you want to be a lab tech. We don't want to work with you. No, we push it. We support it. We love it. Digital is outstanding. And if, as a clinical side, if you can support those things, that's amazing. And if not, then we're here to pick up everything that you can.
So what's your role at that lab now?
So I was hired as one of the managers here, and I'm overseeing the CAD/CAM department, and then also I'm our kind of digital specialist. So a lot of education and training role on the clinical side, and then a lot of traveling to kind of keep up with the industry side of events and stuff throughout the year. But Tristan, he's kind of on the same side of things as I am, and he knew what I did with the Air Force and how we converted and built that all digital laboratory and how we streamlined our workflows kind of top to bottom, research and development for all the materials and processes. And he's like, I want that. Like, don't we all?
Yeah. No,
that was a lot of work. Don't we all want
I'll take 3.
Exactly. He's like, I want that. And so that's what we're doing here now. As a team, we are in desperate need for more people because our workload is it's been a crazy summer for them. They've had just continuous amounts of work, and they're really just stretching at the belt here of being able to support it. And we're only just growing and growing and taking in more. So on the CAD/CAM side of things, we're getting things streamlined. And actually it's official now that I stepped in here and I kind of did the same thing that I did at Keesler Air Force Base with the all digital laboratory. Well, it was another lab, but we kicked out someone else and we took it as the digital. Well, in 2 weeks, we're about to kick out the ceramics department out of the ceramics laboratory, and we're taking it to the digital laboratory.
Wow.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, we're starting to move. We've gotten a bunch of new equipment in with the new 3Shape scanner that came out and all that software. We just got that in this week. We went ahead and installed another in-lab system. We're getting another 5-axis mill just to be able to meet the mill. We already have a handful of printers, and then we're constantly evaluating 3D printing because that's kind of my niche and my background. So anyone on a corporate side that says, hey, Jessica, because we're always in the market for a 3D printer. Do you want to try out the printer? Sure, anytime. Drop it off. I will print on that thing. I will run it like crazy. But the best thing is, even if I don't buy it at the end, I can still sit down with that company because of my background, and I can say, hey, this is all the really great things I found about your 3D printer. This is where it excels at. And these were the things that I found were falling short in comparison. And for this price point, this is where you kind of range for and comparability to the rest of them. And here is your true kind of market for your indications that you can provide. Here is that like pinpoint spot of either laboratory, clinical, size, volume, your target sale. And I'm able to do that for them. So even if we don't end up buying it, because I actually get the understanding of how to operate that printer, everything that goes into it on the consulting side. So when you come to me, say you want to buy a new 3D printer, and I sit down with you and I want to be able to go through my whole process. Well, I don't get paid by the companies to sell printers. And I don't have a favorite printer. I honestly could say that all printers are great printers, and they're great in different areas, and some are just meant for other people and some are not.
I love that. So you're kind of a consultant, but not a consultant, or you are, but that you value to that.
Yeah. And I don't always do it for pay. Sometimes on bigger accounts and stuff, people can pay me to come in and kind of just do the weekend with them and set up their things. And that's what I was doing before I got out for Keesler. But I mean, just day to day, if you call me and say, hey, Jessica, I need a 3D printer, this is what's going on. And what do you think I should buy? If I had $1 for every time someone says, well, Jessica, what's the best 3D printer on the market so I can get it?
Yeah.
There's no best printer. There's a best printer for you. And that's something else. That's a big thing I lecture point on. And it's understanding kind of your needs. And on a 3D printing background, Dr. Bellici and I, when we were at Keesler, we kind of came up with a criteria or workflow for purchasing a printer kind of bounced back and forth. It took us a couple months to really get it streamlined. But, and this is what I lecture, it starts with, okay, you want to buy a 3D printer. What's your indications? So what are you printing, or what do you want to print, and at what volume do you want to print it? It's the first place you start. Once those things are identified, I can then kick over. My very next step is, okay, well, what resins do you want to create, those indications out of at that volume? What's your market resin? Because if you think about it, think about ceramics. We all have our specific porcelains that we love and favor more, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much any oven, and it still comes out on the other side.
Yep.
So why do we target the 3D printing industry on the oven, quote unquote, the box, the printer? We should be looking at it on the resin basis. So once you kind of identify those resins that are the areas that you want, it's very easy to determine what printers those resins are actually intended for. If you call that resin manufacturer and say, I'd like a list of all your validated printers for your resin, they'll give you a list of every printer that can actually print that by FDA standards or, whatever validation code. It's that easy. You pick up the phone and call the resin manufacturer.
Interesting.
So you're lecturing on that. So are you lecturing anytime coming soon?
That's the thing. So I'm working a couple things with some KOLs for a couple companies.
Great.
And that's kind of got me streamlined away from just personal 3D printing education. I'm hoping to get something in Chicago this year for sure on the 3D printing background, because it's out there and people don't get it. And you know what? They shouldn't get it, because I had all the time in the world in the Air Force to run around, and do R&D work and go to all these fancy shows and events and have all this great education, which everyone else in the civilian industry paid for, by the way, with their tax dollars.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, you all paid for me to just, run around and figure out all this crazy education. So why would I not want to just come and give it back?
Really?
It makes sense. I mean, obviously.
I agree. Yep.
That's awesome. I mean, because you're right. When it comes to 3D printers, we're all sold on speed and build plate.
Yeah, it always starts with the resins. And then once, you get your printers, I then move into actually breaking down those printers that are already validated for those resins. And then I get into the tech and how it builds. And when I say the tech inside of it, I mean full-blown understanding the mechanical property build of the structure and the layer it's printing. So I get a little bit nerdy on the 3D printing side of things.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. If you ever have an hour and a half.
That's not a bad thing.
If you ever have an hour and a half, we can talk about the tech of a printer, okay?
Yep. It's true, though, but it's very impressive. Totally respected.
But I really love it, and I love being able to help people kind of make decisions. Like I said, large accounts and big things, if you're wanting me to fly somewhere and be in your laboratory for multiple days, obviously I'm charging some money.
Oh, yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, I might make 6 industry phone calls with other laboratory owners or lab technicians just to chat and talk through things.
Awesome.
It's education. Why not?
Yep.
And like I said, thanks for paying for it. And, thanks for paying your taxes and let me be a part of the Air Force, which was just absolutely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I really enjoyed.
So where do you think 3D printing is going to go? Where do you see it? Are we going to be printing crowns? That's my question.
We will be printing crowns. 3D printing as a whole. So let's just say we'll really get on the 3D printing stance. Just because I have such a large background, I waited to tell you guys that until the end. I knew it would come up. Okay.
Yeah.
Manufacturing as a whole, not just dentistry, the whole future is 3D printing. 50 years from now, of all indications, across manufacturing, that's the solution for us.
Yeah.
Additive manufacturing. Correct. The fact that dental is already so well developed in it, and we're actually kind of leading the way for manufacturing purposes on 3D printing, which is very interesting because how it kind of fell into the CAD/CAM side of things, and then it got linked over to the 3D printers. So where are we heading in 3D printing as dental? I will tell you the resins will improve. We'll actually be able to provide longer lasting, because especially when we're talking dentures,
yeah,
durability, and it's just don't drop it, what it's done.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
But we can talk about that. But we're looking at better materials, better technology for the builds. And as those evolve, we'll have more long-lasting and long-term devices. I like to call dental restorations medical devices because of the FDA backing. And then for the crown side of things, I definitely do. I don't know how I can say this and not get in trouble. So
well, that's no fun.
I know, right? And I get to work with, that's another thing too. Thank you to all these companies out here that work with me. It's incredible. I mean, the support I've gotten, especially in the 3D printing background, I mean, it's like an open door policy. I can call anytime, I can go out to those companies and work with them, or I can work on the materials. Thank you to those people for being supportive of that. I will have to say that. Long lasting crowns, I can see it on a resin basis. And of course, you saw a little bit of it with the temporary material from Envision Tech and them calling it like long-term temporary crown.
Yeah.
So we kind of got a flash of that. And that will evolve. Resins are always being worked on. With how big it's been, and you can only imagine how many even smaller, I guess, like dental companies are working on crafted specialty resins to be able to be validated with different printing systems. So that's going to come on a resin basis. But then again, too, about, I would say 5 to 6 years, we'll see a big kick of zirconia printing.
Ooh, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was already on the floor this year at IDT. There was a couple zirconia printers out there, which I mean,
I heard about them.
Yeah, they're there, but are they like here ready to rock and roll? It takes about 5 or 6 years to get things streamlined. I mean, you can always make something on, additive manufacturing, but does it mean it can actually get in a patient's mouth and be classified as a medical device? Give it probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
It will, but it's already here and it's happening. So when I say the industry as a whole, that's specifically here in the laboratory too. It's only going to evolve and improve because everyone wants to have the best, right? Even with traditional materials. Everyone always wants to up the other company, and they're going to do the same thing for 3D printing, and it's going to create really some great digital materials and tech to be able to do it. And what an exciting time to be in dental laboratory. By the way, I'm traditionally trained too. This is where it gets, right? I came in 2013, no digital background, and then you get to be in dental laboratory now going through this kind of evolving into a digital career field.
Yeah.
So you could sit down and still hand wax a full contour?
I just did 2 no prep veneers the day I had the hand wax because they said, well, just mill it in CAD wax on the CAD CAM system. I was like, it's too thin to design. I'll never be able to mill that. And they're like, oh, I guess we'll have to wax it. And I was like, well, where's your waxer? Oh, I have to run home and get it. Like, you have a waxer, but honestly, I tell people that all the time too. I love digital. And, with what it did for me in the Air Force and the cases we were able to complete. But at the end of the day, technology is not reliable. Okay, my computer is not going to just like tell me every day that it loves me and it's going to show up and it's going to work. You don't get to do that. We have the biggest problems, tech crashes, software, different firing programs going out, pieces, elements of sintering ovens. That stuff, it's just not reliable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is reliable is your hands. That's the one that you can control. So as a digital technician, I can say, wow, this case is not going well. My system's crashed. This needs to be done. And guess what? I can get up and I can just go do it.
Yep.
It's good because a majority of CAD CAM people couldn't.
Yeah. I was trying to do just a splint the other day and I was digitally designing it, but there was something wrong with the scans and they're just splicing all over the place and giving me some crazy, like exploding models on the screen. And I'm just like, oh, well, what do I do with this? Okay, we print the models and then we just go make a traditional splint out of acrylic. It's faster. Okay, problem, just do it traditional. Get up and just push it over. It's no big deal. And I love that. And I love working for Tristan's laboratory as well because they're so strong on the aesthetic side of things. Every single case that comes in this laboratory is QC'd by who's ever in the general management kind of slot for that day. Because there's a lot of rotation for departments and things, but every case is QC'd by CDT.
Wow. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah. And for an aesthetic side of things, I mean, we have our own custom shades here. We have our area out front off from our waiting room. we see patients every week for custom shades.
Yeah.
We're still able to support that, and nothing's traditionally made. It's all based off of digital.
I love it.
I love this laboratory, and that's why, like I said, 2 weeks before, here I was going, corporate, and then I came down here and was supposed to have lunch. I took the job before I left, and then, he was talking about money, and I was like, I don't even know. Let's just talk about that Monday. I was like, I wasn't even planning on taking a job. I was like, I got people to call to say I can't work for them, okay? So that was 2 weeks before I got out, and I ended the Air Force on the 29th, and I started Tristan's lab on the 30th.
Wow.
You didn't even take a day off? Wow.
Not a single day.
And I don't think you looked back, did you? Hell no. I can't imagine.
I did. There's so many great things to do here, and sure, the Air Force provided me with things that I can just never recreate. But there's so much more as on the civilian side of things and how you can interact with other laboratories. And that's a big thing for Bayou State Dental Laboratory. They're part of a lot of laboratory groups and, sales groups and marketing groups that help and support each other. And it's great. I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? This is where I wanted to be. This is what I expected. And I don't think if I would have jumped straight to the corporate side of things that I would have been this happy. There's no way.
So talk about your Facebook page. I saw that. I've seen that. I'm friends with you. So how did you get involved with that? And what is that all about? And
it was probably through some of the carbon stuff, of course, because training background, you can only imagine that I have a big love for my friends over at Carbon. They are also great. They're great people, great tech. And, I can say that about a ton of printers, but that's probably, you guys are always on the Carbon pages, and that's where we probably got linked up. The social media thing for me, I just started it out. I mean, I've had that same Facebook account since I was in marching band in high school. If you dig back my photos, you can find marching band photos. I swear they're there. Don't go digging, but to me, my family yells at me because I got the 2 kids. Well, post the kids. Well, it's a way to connect to people globally.
Yeah.
For dentistry. And I'm able to help and educate people all over the world through social media. And if that means that my grandma has to get, my kids' photos emailed to her instead of me posting, okay, that's fine. She'll live. Because I've turned it into more of an educational tool. And I still post about my family, and I try to use it as like that traditional one to make the family side of things kind of happy. But I can get a message from, India, or who have I talked to this week? I mean, I can open up my inbox right now, and there's just people from everywhere who have been like, hey, I saw on your page that you were at Dentsply Sirona's training academy back in, February. Do you know how to work this?
Yep.
Absolutely, I do. Do you want to talk it through? Do you need help? Hey, I saw that you're 3D printing. What's that like? Oh, you have the Paula denture system in your laboratory the other week. And it's a great connection tool to help educate people. So that's where I kind of see it going. And, my poor family, they'll be upset with me. My kids are pretty cute, though, so they'll probably smashed up there here and there. You have to deal with that. But, they're cute kids, so.
Wow. Well, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. But that's what's going on with that.
I'm super excited that you didn't go into corporate, that you stayed here with us laboratory peeps.
Yeah.
But you still focus on education, which is always so important.
Yeah, super important.
And it's not only big to educate other people, but, I always hold kind of people accountable. You're always out here educating everyone else, but are you educating yourself? Not, I heard this lecture 3 years ago, so I can talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to be invested. Just the other year, actually claimable, I had over 500 CE hours.
Wow.
In a year?
In 1 year. Like it went through for my, I have to have my 8 or 10 or something for my CDT, and it was counted there. And I was just like, holy cow.
That's a lot.
Exactly. But you have to hold yourself accountable. If you're going to play a role in education, then it's expected for you to educate yourself and keep up with it. And that means attending courses, reading articles, just word of mouth, and talking with friends. Research and development is key. You can't stay ahead if you don't regularly do R&D work. It just can't happen.
Listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. You have to educate yourself. And you can't be a great educator unless you're doing that, which means I stay really busy, and education kind of just is a big focus for me. What that means, I literally have no free time in my whole life besides dental, my kids, and that's it. Yeah.
What else is there?
I don't need anything else. I'm really happy. I'm literally motivated and happy to come to work, even when I know it's going to be a complete show.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah, as long as I've been in the industry, which is pretty much my whole life, I enjoy every single day. I love what I do. I love the education. I love the research. So I just, you sound jazzed. I love talking to you. It's been amazing.
If you wake up every morning and you're thinking about all the crap you're going to have to go through, but you're still kind of excited, and then you're more excited to see the new things that you're going to learn and you're going to actually go through for that day and learn new things.
Yep.
Why not?
Awesome.
Continuously. Yeah, it was great being able to get on here and chat with you guys. I mean, that's a little bit of an intro into my life. And I mean, honestly, some of the stuff, like I said, give me an hour and a half just for the tech on printers. If you want to talk ceramic porcelains, give me 2 hours. If you want to talk, anything small niche, I can give you a 2-hour conversation on just that one individual as well.
I would love to.
I think that's just a small amount of time compared to where you're going. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Elvis. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I would love to bring you back on to talk about 3D printing.
Heck yeah.
We could have people on from the printing companies, but they'll talk about their printer.
Yeah.
I'd love to get more of a generalized, what's this all about? How can people make educated decisions on which ones they want to buy? I think we definitely have a follow-up.
And that's the last lecture I just did was, what did I title it? I believe it's 3D printing, the new era of digital dentistry. And what path are you going to choose, or what path are you going to follow? Because no one has time to go do all the research work that took me just in printing. By the way, I spent the last, 10 months now just doing 3D printing research every night. So no one else has time for that because they actually have like a laboratory to run. And me working in the Air Force side, it's like, well, if I'm gone, if I'm traveling for work doing this, it's fine. We have a large laboratory team. You still get your paycheck on the 1st and the 15th, no matter what you're doing, as long as it's work related. I didn't physically have to be in the seat designing cases.
That's great. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Jessica.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
No, thank you guys so much for even wanting to have me on. Yeah, definitely cut this part that I'm going to tell you, but I was at Fun in the Sun and Trish was just like, oh, I love Barbara and I love Elvis. You just have to reach out to them and get on there with them.
Aww.
So yeah, she gave you guys the biggest support. And I always see and listen to the podcast and I was like, hey, you know what? Why not? And then sure enough, Elvis messaged me about something the other day and I was just like, Trish just told me that I should definitely get in touch with you guys. And he's like, I want to be on the podcast.
And I've heard you're an amazing speaker and you put on a really, really, really good lecture. So congratulations as well. It's mutual.
Yeah, I really do love to lecture.
Takes a lot of balls to get up there. I'm telling you.
I am terrible at public speaking, by the way. I actually have a ton of anxiety when it comes to public speaking.
Yep, me too.
And I'm shaking, and my first 2 sentences are usually, you can hear the wavering tone in my words. And the minute I get into, I'm a nerd, and I'm literally a dental nerd, everything dental. So as long as I say the word dentistry or dental 4 times in those 2 sentences, I'm into nerd mode. I'm good to go.
Yeah,
nice.
Same here. I do. I have a huge fear. It scares the hell out of me to get up there. But you know what? If you're passionate about it, you want to tell people and you want to just get your message out, you just have to overcome that and go for it. And it sounds like you are. So congratulations. I can't wait to hear you speak. And I love the fact that you're a strong, powerful, kick-ass woman. Awesome.
Yeah, all 4'10" of me. Okay. By the way, if you guys ever see me lecture again, they really should have helped me out last time. My podium, you can only get to see the top 6 inches of my head.
That's even better. I'm 5'1". Love it.
Some people who attend my lectures might not actually know what I look like because if I get stuck behind a podium on an elevated surface, and I'm just kind of I almost looked like I was going to fall off the elevated surface because I was over, people kind of see my face while I'm talking.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh, it's a struggle. Yeah.
Cool.
We're doing it, and we're doing great things down here at Bayou State, and I'm super excited to be a part of the team down here. And it's a great place to work, just with the management team, Tristan out there, kind of running the image and the face, working on the clinical side, and then His brother Tony's back here covering, so he's a CDT in ceramics. So we're highly aesthetic, everything we send out. And then we got Zach, who's been working here for 17 years and was previously kind of their digital guru. And then me on the management team. And Zach, I mean, you got to think your digital person is the person that really keeps things afloat in your laboratory. So he's like the person that no matter what, your stuff gets done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got him, and you got Tony on the aesthetic stands, and you got Tristan out here on the clinical side, keeping our doctors happy and working with them daily. And then I get popped into the mix, and let's see where it goes, right? And where we can
Sounds like a hell of a team.
Yeah,
And way to give your team props. Awesome.
yeah. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. So
Well, even though you cried when you learned about us, we are happy you decided to take on our industry, and we're grateful that you're in it.
Yep.
I am so happy to be here, and I'm so happy because there's so many great people, and there's so many great companies, and so much to learn and education. And at the end of the day, guess what we do? We help people, and we get to change lives. And if that doesn't make you happy, then I don't know what else would in life.
Well said.
Yeah, well said. And we appreciate you coming on. It was a great interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Jessica. It was wonderful talking to you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks. If you've ever researched 3D printers, you've most certainly heard of a Sigue. The Australian company produces the popular Sigue DLP printers, which cover all dental laboratory printing needs from low to high volume manufacturing. The dependable and popular Sigue Max has proven itself as an affordable yet super accurate workhorse printer that is extremely fast, consistently accurate, and truly affordable. There are two versions of these tabletop printers, the Max UV and the recently introduced Max LCD entry-level version, which introduces single-handed print removal, a touchscreen interface, and the ability to switch materials in less than 30 seconds with no calibration needed. The larger Pro Series printers serve the high production needs of some laboratories. The Pro 4K features the latest DLP imaging technology and the largest build platform in the Sigue printer line. The Pro HD model is another large format printer with high speed, a touchscreen display, and a CNC machine calibration assembly for consistent, repeatable results. 3D printing is growing fast, and if you're growing with it, make sure you're printing with fast, affordable, and proven dependability. Sigue 3D printers from Whitmix.
So we can't thank Jessica Knott enough for coming on the podcast and talking to us. We are always fascinated by the people who serve our country, and for that we thank you. Good luck on your next phase of your dental laboratory career. I'm sure that we'll be seeing her lecturing.
Oh, I'm sure she'll be everywhere.
Yeah, she'll probably be in Chicago, hopefully Vegas. So thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
So we just saw Judy. Judy just blew by us. Hi, Judy. She'll be back because we want to give her a hug and thank her.
She's making her rounds.
She's making her rounds. Just
I see her.
Yep. She's amazing.
So we've been asked lately about the T-shirts. Usually when we sell T-shirts, we do them in fundraising campaigns. You do them for like 4 weeks at a time. So enough people have asked that we decided to do it again. So due to popular demand, we have started a new fundraiser campaign. So until November 6th, you can get a shirt. And again, all the profits go to the Foundation of Dental Laboratory Technology.
And a huge shout out to Patrick Allen.
Absolutely.
Who wore the Voices from the Bench while lecturing at
the National Denturist Association. So, unfortunately, these convention organizers, I don't know if they get together to work at a calendar, but they have so many that happen at the same weekend. Yep. So, you have Lab Day East, but they're also doing the National Denturist Association out in Las Vegas. Wish we could have been there, but, you know, it's one or the other.
We were there. With our shirt.
So
thank you.
Patrick Allen was on stage sporting our T-shirt, which is amazing.
Yep.
So this fundraising campaign, not only do you get to sport a shirt with our favorite podcast on it, but you also be supporting an organization that supports the continuing education of our industry. Because we believe that an educated industry is a thriving industry. So head over to this episode's show notes or to voicesfromthebench.com to find a link to purchase a shirt. Then make sure you head over to dentallabfoundation.org to learn more about this important cause and to learn more about one of the many grants that provide opportunities to those willing to take them. And I can tell you there are a ton of grants out there for this.
I know.
And not enough people try to get them.
Yeah, I think it's just maybe it's up to us also to help spread the message for people to go to the foundation website and take a look at all of the grants. And a lot of them go to helping you with your exams and your CDT, and there's a COIS grant, and there's a Mark Jackson grant. I mean, there's just so much money available that so many people have helped raise these monies so that we can give back to educating. So check it out.
Don't sell yourself short thinking you can't get it. Everybody's eligible for this, and you can use it for such a great cause.
And as always, a big thank you to this week's sponsor, Digital Dental and Whitmix. You can always find a link to them on this episode's show notes. Be sure to send them some love back. And, you know, it's kind of cool because we've heard from both companies that having their sponsorships and their ads on our podcast have definitely given them leads. So we're proud of that. Thank you, both of you.
And we especially want to give a huge thanks to those responsible for the JDT 2019 WOW product. So a group of industry leaders and somebody nominated us to be part of this great group of products and services in our industry. And we're up with some big names, Preet, Arjun, the Trilor, and here we are. So check out the latest issue of JDT. There's a little blurb about us and the podcast, and we can't thank you enough.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it. And there's also mentioning of me, my sub 8 mile on the race, which you can edit that out. But yeah, I'm a badass.
Did you hear about the guy that just ran a full marathon in under 2 hours?
No.
Yeah, it's the first time it's ever happened in human history.
God. I wonder what he's taking. He's probably like 90 pounds.
Well, awesome. We're going to get back to recording some great stuff here at Lab Day East. And join us next week. We got some interviews that I got at the DS Marketing Summit.
Awesome. And that was amazing. You did an amazing job again without your partner. So listen up. It's only one voice of voices, but it's an amazing one. So join us.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good week.
Have a good one. Bye. Joe, you're a buzzkill.
I know.